Once there lived a boy in a town. One day, he came to visit his grandfather during his summer holidays. He used to play with his grandpa all the time. One day, he said to his grandpa, "Grandpa, when I grow up, I want to become a successful man. Can you tell me some ways to be successful?" Grandpa nodded and said yes, and took the boy with him to a nearby nursery. From the nursery, his grandpa bought 2 small plants and came back home. Then he planted one plant in a pot and kept it inside the house, and planted the other plant outside the house. What do you think? Which of these 2 plants will grow better in the future? Grandpa asked the boy. The boy kept thinking for some time and then said, "The plant inside the house will grow better because it is safe from every danger, while the plant outside is at risk of many things, like strong sunlight, storms, rain, and animals." Grandpa smiled and said, "Let us see what happens in the future." After that, the boy left. For years later, the boy came to visit his grandfather again. When the boy saw his grandfather, he asked him, "Grandpa, last time I asked you a question about how to be successful in life, but you did not tell me anything. This time, you have to tell me." Grandpa smiled and said, "Sure, but first, let us take a look at the plants we bought a few years ago." Saying this, Grandpa took the boy to the place where he had planted the small plant in a pot. They saw that the small plant had turned into a big plant. Then he took the boy to look at the plant that had been planted outside. That plant had faced so many dangers, but still, it had grown so big. Grandpa smiled and said, "Yes, the plant outside had to face many things, but dealing with problems had its benefits too. The plant outside had the freedom to spread its roots as much as it wanted. Problems like storms and heavy rain made its roots even stronger. Today, it is so strong that a small storm cannot cause any harm to it, while the plant we planted inside remains small and weak because it did not withstand the heavy storms, rain, and strong sunlight." Then Grandpa looked at his grandson and said, "My son, always remember that unless you struggle in life, unless you go through difficulties, you too will not be able to achieve success. If you make comfortable choices, then you will not be able to grow as much as you can. But if you are ready to struggle and go through difficulties, then no goal is impossible for you to achieve. Therefore, never think of problems as hurdles, but think of them as stepping stones towards success." The boy took a deep breath and started looking at the tree. The words of his grandfather were echoing in his mind. Obstacles, which we consider enemies in our life, are the same obstacles that make us stronger and more successful. If we look closely at our lives, we will find that often we have to face challenges and difficulties, due to which many times we get disappointed and lose the courage to move forward. But this story of the 2 plants teaches us not to be intimidated by challenges, but to embrace them as opportunities to learn and grow. Like the plant that was planted outside, it had to face natural calamities, but with this, it also had the freedom to spread its roots and grow stronger. Thus, it transformed.